We start off NXT for July 22nd, 2025 with Hank and Tank, the NXT Tag Team Champions, and Ruca, the NXT Women's North American Champion, and Zaria versus the Collings, Izzy Dame, Nico Vance, Shawn Spears, and Tatum Paxley in a mixed tag team match. Chaotic brawling out of the gates. The bell rings with Walker and Vance legal and beating the heck out of each other in the corner. An alarm clock headbutt from Nico. Quick tags working Hank over. Ledger gets the tag and a near fall on Spears off the ropes. Shawn Spears cuts him off with a kick. A tag to Paxley and Zaria comes in on the other side. Tatum with a Lou Thez press into mounted punches. Zaria blasts her with a boot. Ruca runs in a briefly military press showing off her strength. Paxley floats off and tags Spears back in. Tank in with him. The match breaks down into a big 8-way brawl. Babyfaces body slams for everybody. They all squash Vance in the middle of the ring. Vance and Ledger are brawling as we come back from commercial. A big headbutt from Nico. He heads up top. Tank rolls away from the diving headbutt attempt. Zaria, Ruca get Paxley down and out in the corner. Soul with a handspring splash off of Zaria. They go for the pin, but Izzy Dame breaks it up. A fireman's carry. Tatum slips out. Zaria plucks Spears off the turnbuckles and hits the F5 on him. Paxley rolls her up with a schoolboy from behind in a near fall. The lights go down and Dark State is here around the arena. The lights come back up and Tatum has Zaria in a side press. The distraction causes the Culling to pick up the win with the side press from Tatum Paxley on the Zaria. And your winners of the first match of the evening, the Culling. Next we have Fatal Influence making their entrance, and JC Jane, the TNA Women's Champion and the NXT Women's Champion. She is double champ. She asks if this picture isn't worth $1 million. And like it or hate it, JC runs women's wrestling, because not only is she your NXT Women's Champion, she's now your TNA Knockouts Champion. She talks about being a history maker and a moment maker. Enter Last Legend. She says JC might be at the top, but she's gonna downward spiral real fast because it's time for her to lash out. Everybody was talking about one woman at Evolution, and it wasn't JC, it was the bougie bully. She proved she's the most dominant force in NXT, and she's gonna get one of those titles. Enter Jada Parker. She doesn't want to take Legend's flowers from her, but she needs to do herself a favor and look around, because this is NXT, and Jada Parker has a direct line to the title. She says she's walking reality check in the face and the future of the women's division. JC says she's glad they think so highly of themselves and she's gonna let them discuss this among themselves. She immediately tells her girls to get him, but Jasmine, Nyx, and Fallon Henry refuse to move a muscle. So Jane leads the charge and attacks them herself, and Nyx and Henley reluctantly throw themselves into the fray, and it wasn't enough because Lash Legend and Jada Parker worked together to take them both out. Next we have Jasper Troy versus Ricky Saints. Saints, keeping his distance at first, sees an opportunity. Mounted punches in the corner, Troy shoves him off, drops him with a lariat in a big splash. Nobody home. Ricky grabs at his face, Jasper tosses him up. A running power slam connects and a cover for a 2 count. Troy throws him to the floor. Jasper traps him in the bear hug. Saints fights his way out of it. Troy with body blows. Ricky passes him to the floor and dives on him. Back inside, blocking a tornado DDT from Saints, Troy showing off his strength. A corner body avalanche sidestepped. Ricky diving crossbody springboard and into the tornado DDT. He goes for the pin. 1, 2, kick out by Troy. A cactus clothesline and both men are down and out on the outside of the ring. Back on their feet, fighting up the ramp and to the stage, Jasper throws Ricky into the LED screen. Saints collapses through a broken chunk of stage and Troy lands a senton onto Saints. The referee's counting and Jasper makes his way back into the ring and beats the count, and Jasper Troy wins the match over Ricky Saints by countout. Next we have the TNA champion Trick Williams making his entrance and getting on the mic. He says he main evented TNA's biggest show, and at Slammiversary he faced 2 of the best TNA had to offer and he beat them both, and that makes him the unequivocally greatest TNA World Heavyweight Champion of all time. He knows they don't like him over there at TNA. He's dropping records, diss tracks, and anybody that gets in his way. He turns his attention to the LFG kids and says they snitched out and called their coach, the dead man, The Undertaker. He's here to spit facts, and it is a fact that The Undertaker is one of the greatest of all time. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason, but it's a fact that he's never held down 2 brands at the same time. LFG got the Undertaker disrespected and tweeting, and he thinks they got him soft too. Booker T popped at that line. He's got no problems being the man to call out the Undertaker because he's Trick Williams, and this is trickin'. Dead man, bring your ass out here. Here comes that dong, that music from the other Undertaker. Much to Sean's delight, the American Badass plays and the Undertaker comes out on the stage with no hat, no coat, ready to give Trick a piece of his mind. He gets on the mic and says Williams is a dead man walking. He's got the nice title and the bling, and is his jacket genuine cowhide? He's got it all except for one thing, respect. And as long as he has this attitude, losing the title ain't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That attitude will be his downfall, and the walls will be crumbling down. He's seen it a million times. His attitude is rotten, and it's exactly what he tries to teach his LFG team. Trick interrupts and says he don't give a care about Undertaker's LFG team. Nobody on LFG is a superstar like Trick Williams. Nobody on NXT is a superstar like Trick Williams. Nobody in WWE is a superstar like Trick Williams. And it's clear the Undertaker is right. Trick Williams is full of himself. Trick asks if that's right and offers one more piece of advice. You're a little too light in the butt to step to an OG. You want to dance with the devil? He can flip that switch right now, and he'll make you famous. Trick tries to punch the Undertaker. Undertaker counters with a brutal chokeslam to Trick Williams. And that's how that segment ends. Hopefully Trick learns a lesson from the Hall of Famer. Next we have Blake Monroe making her NXT debut against Wren Sinclair of No Quarter Catch Crew. A collar and elbow tie-up, Monroe takes Sinclair into the corner and puts boots to her. Pressing the attack out of the corner, a kneeling chicken wing chin lock. Wren gets out of it, off the ropes, a running one-handed bulldog for a near fall. Underhook, Blake slings her into the ropes and clocks her with a vicious-looking headbutt. She finishes her off with a butterfly TDD, and Blake Monroe goes for the pinfall after the DDT. 1, 2, 3. And your winner of her debut, Blake Monroe. After the match, Blake goes to cut a promo, but Jordynne Grace fights through the crowd in a pile of security to get to Monroe. Fending off security, taking him out, Blake goes out after her and headbutts her as well. And then she does that beautiful DDT into a steel chair. Jordynne Grace is laid out. Next we have the NXT North American Champion, Ethan Page, coming out to the ring, and he's holding a summit for the NXT North American Championship. He says he's the greatest NXT North American champion ever. 17 Americans has held it before him, and he intends to bring more pride, dignity, and class to the title than all of them combined. And he plans to do it with his heritage from Canada. If his parents had more different decisions, he might have ended up like all of the crowd, but he didn't. He was born in Canada. Going forward, the title will no longer represent the continent of North America, because what the title represents is an absolute lie. He was born in Canada, but made in America, and that makes him the greatest North American alive and affords him the privilege of doing this. He tosses the old NXT North American Championship out the ring and reveals a new North American Championship of the same basic design, but the letter is painted like the Canadian flag. He says he's just proud of being from Canada, and now the title will come with the Canadian standard of excellence. They're just better, they're nicer, they take on challenges with pride and honor, and that's just athletes. Their food is better and healthier, their women hotter and healthier, and honestly, I don't know how any crowd, even in Texas, is actually giving him heat for this, but they are, and half the sound is getting cut out. He asks that we all rise for the Canadian national anthem, which is he sings himself. And then Santino Marella makes his way to the ring. And he says he's from Italy and tries to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Bruno Sammartino and Rocky Balboa. But what people might not know is that he lives in Canada, and he knows the people of Canada don't agree with what Ethan is saying. The people here are good, hard-working people, but he can't relate that because he's a bumhole boy. Anyways, he challenges all ego and says he'll see him next week. Paige says he wants to go tonight, but Santino gets the Cobra out and Ethan runs away. Next we have the No Quarter Catch crew chatting backstage when WWE Hall of Famer Bubba Ray Dudley walks up and tells Charlie Dempsey to tell him to walk away. When he doesn't, Bubba walks over to Wren Sinclair and says he's proud of her. And then he sets up another Tavon Heights versus Charlie Dempsey match, where if Tavon wins, he's out of No Quarter Catch crew, but if Charlie wins, Heights stays in No Quarter Catch crew with a smile on his face. They shake on it. Next we have the main event. Josh Briggs versus the NXT Champion Oba Femi versus Yoshiki Inamura for the NXT Championship. Femi clotheslines Briggs to start off the match to the floor. They fend off elbows from Inamura, but Yoshiki gets him into the corner with a hellacious chop. A whipped reverse, huge belly-to-belly suplexes connects. Josh back inside, a huge side slam on the champ, a big splash and a cover for a 2 count. Briggs and Inamura working together with shoulder blocks, but Obi drops both of them with lariats. Yoshiki gets a cover, but Josh pulls referee back. A double chokeslam from Oba as we head to commercial. Back from commercial, Femi and Briggs up top. Inamura gets under Obi in an electric chair, but the ruler blocks the doomsday device by pulling Josh off the top by his hair. An opportunistic cover from Yoshiki working together with Briggs. An accidental back elbow knocks Inamura down. A big boot elbow chokeslam on Femi. 1, 2, kick out. Oba Femi will not stay down. Falling forearms, a big power bomb from Inamura. Cover, Josh breaks it out in the nick of time, and Yoshiki had enough and blasts him with a pounce from the apron. Back inside, a big rock bottom onto Obi. Inamura goes up top, bounces a few times, and hits his signature big splash. He goes for the cover. 1, 2. Josh Briggs breaks it up when he hits a moonsault over from the top rope onto Inamura. Josh and Yoshiki trade punches in the middle of the ring. Inamura is hammering him with chops. Briggs kicks at his foot for a few elbows, blocks a rolling elbow with a jab to the neck. Off the ropes, a big lariat turns Inamura inside out. Oba runs back in the ring. Shoulder block, and then his signature fall from grace onto Josh Briggs. Oba goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. And still your NXT Men's Champion Oba Femi, as we end NXT with Oba Femi standing tall, the ruler of NXT. But let me know what you think of the show. Personally, I loved The Undertaker coming back. I loved Bubba Ray. I liked some of the matches tonight. There were a couple botches, but everybody learns from those. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching the NXT highlights with me. Until we meet again, if you can see me, peace.